Alert! Asia is opening soon, and silver could be repriced before most of the Western world wakes up Monday morning. As of March 8, 2026, at 8:36 a.m. ET, the live silver spot price is $85.29 per ounce. FX Empire. That is where silver closed the Western session. That is the last number the paper market agreed on before it went dark. And in a matter of hours, Sydney opens, Tokyo opens, and Shanghai fires up the benchmark that has been running 12 to 13% above Western paper for weeks, the physical price set by industrial buyers who do not trade promises. Here is what Asia has not yet priced. 8 days of war. A new Iranian Supreme Leader selected under IRGC pressure. A $20 billion U.S. government reinsurance program that changes the insurance calculus that caused the Hormuz closure. U.S. crude oil prices surged more than 12% Friday, topping $90 per barrel as tanker traffic in the Persian Gulf remains at a standstill. Metal. And a February jobs report that confirmed 92,000 jobs lost. Stagflation documented in a single morning print. 5 unpriced variables. 1 Asia open. And a silver market that already proved on Monday, March 2nd, it can move 13% in the first hours of a Sunday session, when a single shock arrives over the weekend. This is AG John OG, one handle, 2 platforms, OG John AG, the only fingerprint they cannot forge. This channel has never sold you a single thing and never will. If you are new here, subscribe right now, drop OG in the comments if you are watching tonight's open with us. Let's go. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively closed to commercial shipping since March 2, 2026. An IRGC commander formally declared the strait closed and warned that any vessel attempting transit would be attacked. At least 5 tankers have been struck, 2 crew members killed, and approximately 150 ships anchored outside the strait awaiting resolution. Major marine war risk insurers, including Guard, Skuld, North Standard, the London P&I Club, and the American Club, canceled war risk coverage for vessels operating in the region, making commercial transit economically non-viable even for operators willing to accept the kinetic risk. Maersk, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, CMA CGM, COSCO, and other major operators suspended transits. SGE. Day 8. The closure that produced Monday's $95 silver spike is still in force. Every ship that was anchored outside the strait on Monday is still anchored. Every insurance cancellation that prevented transit on Monday is still in effect. The only change between Monday's spike and tonight's open is the variables that arrived afterward, and Asia is about to price all of them simultaneously for the first time. The Iranian military confirmed that the Strait of Hormuz remains open, but explicitly stated they will target any U.S. or Israeli ships attempting to pass through. Russia is reportedly providing Iran with intelligence on U.S. military positions. The war has caused a significant increase in demand for Russian energy products. Silver trade. Russia providing Iran with military intelligence. That is the weekend development that received the least coverage in Western financial media, and carries the most consequential long-term implication for the Hormuz reopening timeline. A war where the adversary has real-time intelligence support from a nuclear power is not a war that ends in days. It is a war that settles into a sustained conflict architecture with an unpredictable duration. And unpredictable duration is the specific variable that oil markets price at the extreme, because storage buffers, strategic reserve releases, and alternative routing decisions all depend on whether the closure lasts 2 more weeks or 2 more months. Mojtaba Khamenei, the 56-year-old son of the slain Supreme Leader, was selected as the Islamic Republic's 3rd Supreme Leader under what Iran International described as intense IRGC pressure. 8 assembly members publicly boycotted the ratifying second session, citing heavy pressure from IRGC commanders. Mojtaba lacks the religious credentials that the position has historically required, SGE, a dynastic succession in a state founded on the explicit rejection of hereditary rule. Mojtaba Khamenei, selected under IRGC pressure, not through the theological legitimacy process that previous supreme leaders achieved. That specific leadership transition has 2 simultaneous implications for tonight's silver pricing. First, the IRGC, not the clerical establishment, now controls Iran's strategic posture. The IRGC is the institution that operates the drone capability that closed Hormuz. Its dominant influence over the new supreme leader makes de-escalation harder, not easier, than under a theologically legitimate civilian leadership that could override IRGC commanders through religious authority. Second, A legitimacy-challenged Supreme Leader supported by the IRGC has every incentive to demonstrate military strength rather than diplomatic flexibility in the opening weeks of his rule. Escalation serves his political survival. De-escalation does not. Now the critical variable that cuts in the other direction, because this is the channel that earns its credibility by showing you both sides with equal force. The Trump administration on Friday announced a $20 billion reinsurance program for oil tankers and other maritime traffic in an effort to get vessels moving through the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will insure losses up to $20 billion on a rolling basis. Metal, $20 billion. The specific mechanism that closed Hormuz, insurance withdrawal, is the specific mechanism that Trump's DFC program is designed to reverse. An industry expert told CNBC that, despite a lack of specifics, Trump's promise is a very positive signal for the overall insurance market, as it likely will provide needed stabilization as private markets reprice. If the government provides a backstop like this, that is great, because then it allows the creativity here in the London market to say, okay, we can insure everything above a certain limit. SGE, London Market Creativity. That phrase is the most important phrase in the entire Hormuz reopening analysis. The London insurance market, Lloyd's of London, the P&I clubs, does not need a complete resolution of the military conflict to reissue war risk cover. It needs a backstop that limits its exposure to a defined amount. $20 billion of U.S. government reinsurance is the backstop. If Lloyd's calculates that the DFC backstop covers the catastrophic tail risk, the scenario where a supertanker fully loaded with 2 million barrels of oil is destroyed in the strait, the working layers of insurance can reprice and reissue. And when insurance returns, tankers move. Not because the IRGC stopped threatening them, because the financial architecture that makes a voyage economically viable has been restored. A move back above $85 would signal that the market has regained bullish momentum and could reopen a test of the early March highs near $96. For now, silver appears to be entering a consolidation phase. Traders expect the coming weeks to be defined by sharp swings around key technical levels rather than a smooth directional move. Ainvest, $85. That is the exact level where silver closed today's Western session at $85.29, sitting right on the technical signal line that the most detailed silver technical analysis published this week identified as the binary decision point. Above 85 and the path to 96 reopens. Below 85 and the consolidation continues. Asia opens tonight at precisely the level where the chart is making its most consequential decision. The silver price was up over 189% year-on-year as of March 2, 2026. Steve Penny, founder of silverchartist.com, stated, "I think it will be the Fed's response to the next crisis that causes the big move, the 1979 moment where you go up 700% in 12 months. Bing X, 700% in 12 months. That is the 1979 precedent. The specific historical parallel that the Iran war, the oil shock, the stagflation confirmation, and the paralyzed Federal Reserve are all simultaneously recreating. And the Fed's response to the next crisis, the rate cuts that will eventually be forced by a recession that the stagflation trap is generating, is the specific catalyst that Silver Chartist's founder identified as the 1979 moment trigger. That trigger has not yet fired. The Fed is at 98% hold probability. The rate cuts are projected for July at the earliest. But between now and July, between tonight's Asia Open and the first FOMC rate cut, the physical silver market is draining at 785,000 ounces per day. The Shanghai premium is running 12 to 13% above paper. JPMorgan is accumulating quietly on every dip. And the war that is simultaneously driving energy inflation and destroying labor market conditions has now entered its 8th day, with a new Supreme Leader installed under IRGC pressure and Russian intelligence support. Tonight is not the resolution. Tonight is the next chapter. Watch $85.29, tonight's entry point for the Asia session. A close above 85.33 on Sunday's first full session confirms the technical reversal window. A gap above 87.36 signals institutional momentum has returned. A gap below 81.78 on thin Asian liquidity reopens the 75 to 80 floor. Watch Brent crude's Sunday evening open simultaneously, the first oil price that prices 8 days of Hormuz closure data, plus the DFC reinsurance announcement, plus Russia's intelligence support for Iran. Watch the Shanghai Silver benchmark fix at 9 a.m. Beijing time, the one price signal in this market that cannot be manufactured by COMEX paper mechanics. And watch Trump's Truth Social, because in this conflict, the most market-moving communications arrive through a social media platform, not through traditional diplomatic channels, and the window between a Truth Social post and a market gap is measured in minutes. Silver prices are staying steady in international markets, extending gains from the previous session as persistent Middle East tensions fuel safe haven demand. Global silver markets are consolidating after a sharp 3% rebound, with geopolitical concerns providing underlying support. Financial content. Consolidating. That is the word for where silver is right now, $85.29, sitting on the technical signal line, holding the 3% rebound from Thursday's low, with geopolitical concerns providing the floor and the DFC reinsurance announcement providing the ceiling compression on the war premium. Consolidation is not stasis. In silver's market, the market that moved 13% on one Monday morning and 33% in one session in January, consolidation is the coiled spring before the release. Asia opens in hours. The spring is coiled. The variables are unpriced, and the one price that tells you which direction the spring releases is the Shanghai benchmark fix, 9 a.m. Beijing time, tonight. Be watching. This is financial warfare education, not advice, not signals. Verify before you act. Invest with logic, not hype. AG John OG. Out.